Okay, 3, 2, 1, action.
Well, I put this thing on airplane. It's on airplane mode.
Can you maybe?
I switched the
somewhere else?
internet on.
Yeah, you sure? Okay. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be a good one because it's going to be much more serious than the previous one. It's going to be personal to the four of us, personal to everybody on the set, people watching this episode as well. I believe everyone goes through it. Maybe they don't identify it as the title we're going to call it, but they do. So we're going to talk about loving your people from afar, whether your people are family or friends, right? And personally, I think talking about friends, loving your friends from afar is going to be a bit easier than talking about loving your family from afar. Friends can be colleagues, classmates, close friends. Family can be, parents, brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever. Yeah. We're gonna tackle stuff like, why is it important to love your people from afar sometimes? When do you know that that's important for you and you need to do that? We're gonna cover stuff like, what do you do when it's received with some kind of resistance? What do you do if the other person, the other party does not accept that? So my first question for you guys is, while just preparing for this topic, where was your thought process? Like, where did it go? Anyone can start.
It started with me, it's like circles.
Yeah.
I started building circles in my head. It's like family, friends, close friends, as you mentioned. When I start going through it, it started getting somewhere intense. It's intense in me, here. It's like I need to categorize people so I know how I'm going to do that, if actually I'm having one.
Yeah, it got intense. It got really serious when you really
Yes.
thought about it,
Yes.
right?
I actually sat all night yesterday. I took 2 hours with just going through. I had like up and downs on this 2 hours.
Yeah.
I had an emotional roller coaster as well. Since we decided that this topic is going to be for this episode. And yeah, I went back to the times I had to do that. The psychology behind it. I did some research and I changed my mind about some things. So I went back and forth a lot. The change that happened in my beliefs is in a good way, I feel.
Okay, so I think we had a conversation about this before, right? And I told you that's kind of like my default. I mentioned it in the last episode where I went through a depression for a really long time. Okay, so I felt like I had been abandoned by a lot of people, and I think that's the reason why it was my default. So I went through a lot of emotional ups and downs thinking about it, because I just realized that I'm not in that space anymore and I don't have to do it, but I need to kind of change my mind. So today I'm hoping that some of your insights are going to help me kind of let go of feeling like it's necessary to keep people away.
Honestly, I do believe that it's a necessary thing. I think the challenge is in how we do it, because sometimes the people we need to do it with are close in terms of we've known them since we were children or something, or we've gone through a lot together, and a lot of times they don't see it coming, and a lot of times we do it without really announcing it, verbally. We just do it, and that's the thing. Sometimes we do it unintentionally. We do it as a defensive mechanism for ourselves first, right? And then we notice that while when I did that, I felt better at certain elements in my life, and now it's becoming a conscious decision for you. This is what I need to do. Where it gets ugly is when it's time to explain it to the other person, if you're going to explain. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
That is you, God, huh? What? It was?
Yeah, because you're أكيد بتسمعوا يعني. أكيد.
Yeah.
بس أحس وقفت مكان أوكي لا؟
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we can go back.
Hold on.
We Gucci? Take 2.
So my question was, when do you decide to take that action that you need to love your own people from afar? It's up to you if you want to be specific on, on what category is that. Are they friends or are they family? Or you can just go, on surface on it.
It's when you're not be able to be or not be controlling. You cannot control your full decision. So if you're not controlling, so kind of you have meaningless life in a way.
You feel like when you're with that person, you
They
can't
would be
make your
controlling.
own decisions.
Yeah, they will be controlling your decisions.
Got you. That's a very good example of why would you feel that though?
I think that it's mostly because, like, in our society, we are kind of dependent on other people. And other people's, like, our parents are very involved in our lives. The people around us are also very vocal about how we should be living, how we should act.
You mean there's certain standards to do everything?
Yeah, so you're supposed to act and do things in a certain way. Do you know what I mean? So that's when I'm trying to like put
Expected
this.
lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm trying to put this in a way that makes me sound like I'm speaking English.
I think it's a cultural thing, is
Yeah.
what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a
I don't think that it's just. Well, it is
Yeah,
cultural.
it is
thing.
cultural.
It is cultural. Yeah.
yeah.
That our parents are very involved, and we're supposed to do things a certain way.
Not only parents.
Not just parents,
Yeah,
yeah. Your
or
friends
family.
also are, like, if they're very vocal and they're constantly trying to interject what they think according to their limited belief or, a certain kind of like religious reason, and they keep holding that onto you. And that's something that you don't assign to.
And okay, and I'm sure you guys agree that that's not the first thing you're supposed to think about. Is just loving someone from a distance, right? There are steps before that. For example, if you have friends who try to impose their ideology on whatever, that's not the first thing you're gonna decide, right? You're gonna try to set your boundaries first. You're gonna try to be vocal on it, but to me, it's after doing all that steps, making all the needed steps, and they still do the same thing. They still try to impose their ideas, their decisions, their life decisions on you. And when you don't, somehow they try to shame you. To me, that's a red flag. That's when I know, okay, we're good. We had a good time. We had a good friendship. But from now on, our friendship have one new rule, and it has to be 5 meters away from now on. You get me?
Social distancing.
Right.
I had the other extreme of cutting people out. Like, I took a lot. I did not know how to set boundaries. So I went from close to canceling them, basically. And only recently that I learned how to set boundaries with people, and that really helped a lot. Even if there was distance, but the relationship still stayed other than before. To me, when to start or when to know that I need to keep a distance is when the quality of my life is going down or staying down because of this person being in my life, no matter what I did.
It's tough. It's easier talking about it, but it's tough when you take examples like, what if that person is my own wife? Right? what if that person is my own brother? Alhamdulillah, I don't have that, but it's just the imagination. It's just thinking about that is kind of scary. I'm always big on communication, open communication, but what I've learned is even if you're really good at communicating with people, those people might not be, and you might feel like you're actually talking to a wall sometimes. You really care about them, they're really dear to you, but like you reach a certain level, you just go, you know what, I can't save everyone, I can't save this friendship or relationship in general, and yeah, we need to set new boundaries.
شباب عادي أقول شيء على السريع
قول أشياء.
بس شوي لأن أحس إن بعض الأجوبة ما straight forward وايد أحس إنه blurry يعني الأنسرز.
So it's because it's I understand, but it's one of those topics smell. We're trying not to mention بالضبط من، فمن كذا تشوف تحس إنه كذا surface. فهمت؟ يعني ما أقدر أقول مثلا my close friend. مثلا لو ما جاهز، فهمت؟
قصدي الأوبينيون ما واجد واضح يعني كأنه وايد دبلوماسيين في كل واحد الجواب يعني ما أشوف.
Okay, you want answers like last time.
No, he wants كذا.
لأن يعني يقولون شيء.
He has a point. He has a point.
إحنا ما توصل عنا الفكرة كاملة لأن يمكن أنتوا وايد دبلوماسيين ولا
And you
it's
don't
too
wanna
emotional to
be
really
very
really
obvious
express.
as who.
Yeah, I wanted to say that my intention of this is not to promote loving people from afar, but to keep it as the last option. So everything before, learning how to set boundaries, knowing when it's a يعني خلاص ما في أمل من الموضوع. So yeah, I just wanted to say that keep that in mind. I'm not trying to promote it at all. I just wanna, sometimes it's the only thing you can do after trying all the other things.
So we were talking about when do we know that that's what we have to do? When is that last option? How can you know that you're in the last option? You know, we all answered. Aisha, you wanna have your 2 cents on this?
Don't even know how to go about this. I don't even know what to say.
The last time you've done it since
I'm stuck.
the last time you've done it, let's say it was a long time ago,
Yeah.
right? Just walk us through your thought process. How I know it's difficult.
Okay. I mentioned earlier that I went through a period in my life where I felt like I was abandoned, but I don't think that it was purposely done. I think that when you're so severely depressed and the people that care about you are like watching you suffer, they don't know what to do. So they kind of retract from you and they started to love me from afar. So I kind of started to do that to other people so that they wouldn't do it to me. Do you know what I mean?
So
Like
it
it's
was
my
a defensive mechanism.
yeah, but now it's become like my default. Like I have a lot of people in my life, but I find it very difficult to completely let everybody into my everyday always. Like I'll be there for my friends, but I don't feel comfortable having people too close to me all the time because I don't want anybody to be there when I'm suffering. But the problem is I'm not always suffering. Like I'm not suffering anymore, which is why I'm saying that I want to learn how to let my guard down in terms of like having that as a long-term habit. Like I understand there are situations where I have done that because it was necessary, but it's kind of become a default. That's why I find it difficult to talk about this conversation because I don't want people to feel some kind of way about what I'm saying. It's not because I think that my friends are bad or anything like that. It's just
Well, thank you for sharing that to begin with. I think that's an important point because if I had someone important in my life and they've decided to do that, I would take it I would feel a way about it. But if they told me that that's what they have to do at the moment, I would understand. I think I wouldn't like it, but I understand. We don't have to agree to every decisions our loved ones might make, and that's important to know. But why I'm saying this is because I found myself back in the day. I've made those decisions. I kind of distanced myself from certain people, and they were okay with it at the beginning. But with time, some other feelings develop. They start not really liking it. They start, developing those feelings of probably resentment. I'm not sure. And every time we got in touch again, you could feel it in the air, right? Can you blame them? No, you can't. You can't, because you made that decision. And just like we always say, every actions you make, you take, and everything you say has consequences. We talk about this from one side. You also have to think of the other side. Like if they might make a decision based on your decision as well. And when they make that decision, you can't really say anything about it. You just have to take responsibility and that's it.
For sure.
Right.
I think before asking, is this person toxic in my life? Or am I the toxic one in this relationship?
Actually,
Do I want the distance because they're affecting me, or am I affecting them? Am I mirroring? Before creating distance or before making that decision, look within first. Make sure that you're not the toxic one, because they can't be 100% angel and you 100% or the
That's very
opposite.
interesting.
So there's always some why are they triggering you in that way? Why are you impatient with their behavior?
That's true.
Yeah, that you look within first before you label them as toxic.
I think I want to also highlight that, like going back to the question that you asked, like when I felt like it was necessary to do that. Did I just lose my train of thought? I think I lost my train of thought.
I'll come back.
We'll wait for it to come back. I just remember though, because you said something like, you said something that I resonated with, because you said,
I'm so bothered. This is old woman syndrome.
you said, why am I triggered by everything this person is doing? And when you travel with people, for example,
I feel
sorry Qusay, I love you Qusay, sorry.
Oh,
I love you Qusay. But I traveled with my cousin a couple of times. It's okay, he's my boy. I traveled with him a couple of times, and I noticed it in both sides. Like on the second week, you just feel the energy. It could be about anything, just waking up in the morning. Good morning. Yeah, I know it's morning. Something like that. Oh, look at him breathing again. Why are you eating like that? Something like that. So imagine if the person we're talking about is with you all the time. I can't imagine that.
COVID.
Yeah. Hey.
COVID and travel. Honestly, like I've had this experience, and
Yeah.
She did it.
No, I did it. Yeah, but
I would say something. I had really personal story as well.
Just be careful.
No.
Be careful, because I do have an extra room, but just be careful.
No, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
أنت ما بقيت شيء خلاص.
Just be careful.
So, anything not food.
Oh God.
Kill me. No. So,
What do you mean?
I was in China with my cousin. This guy, I've been doing everything with him except having fun or traveling with alone. Yani we traveled together, but with families. But both of us, we never did it. So it wasn't China, because he was insisting, let's go China, I want to go and see. I was like, okay, fine. Just remember that I'm crazy when it comes to food. He's like, okay, fine. So I gave him like a free day the first night. We went and had like fast food. the next day, we start having really crazy food. I'm not going to mention what we ate, but yani,
Did you eat a dog?
A bat. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm not going to say. But it was very tough for him. And for me, I want to try new things. So I was pissed for we were there for 2 weeks. And it was triggering me every day, every night. So I was like, you know what? I know this is the last travel we're going to do together.
God.
And I love you, but
You always talk about love you.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I remember my thoughts,
You
by
can-
the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I wanted to say was the reason that I felt like in the past, like one of the clearest times where I had to do that, of distancing myself from other people, is the fact that they kept on holding on to an old version of me and they wouldn't let me be the new person that I am. So every time I was around them, they would literally treat me like this person that doesn't exist anymore. They refused to get to know the new parts of me. They kept holding on to things that have happened in the past as if they just happened yesterday, and this was years and years ago. So, yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Obviously terrible, because it's already painful to shed skin like that.
Yeah, what came to your mind at that moment, or these moments?
What do you mean? I got upset. I get upset. And I think that by nature, I'm the kind of person that over-explains myself. Because I feel like I have to go out of my way to explain to people that, there's a reason why I'm like this, or the reason why I do X, Y, and Z. So that you can understand my personality, And I feel like I go out of my way to try to explain things to people, but then when they still hold you to something, it's like they didn't even listen to anything that you said. So how can you be anything more than just upset, And just disappointed that they refuse to believe that you have the capability to push through and change.
It's a very crucial time when you're deciding if this person is going to stay in your life. So after this happens a few times, they're still holding you to whoever you were before. They're not seeing you as a new person. I think it's crucial to how you react to them. So are you reacting like your old person, or are you reacting in a more mature way? That also comes to parents. So your parents always see you as a kid until you grow up, and they'll keep treating you like a kid, and you'll keep throwing sort of tantrums, you'll keep crying. That's how you react to them having control over you in some way. The day you react in a mature way, setting boundaries without really throwing kind of a tantrum or crying or why are you doing this to me, I think that's when they see you as the adult self or your new self.
I totally understand that. I'm still learning how to get there. I find it really difficult because it was a really painful experience to go through, and I get I still have to deal with a lot of people invalidating my experience.
We were mentioning all the stories, some of them funny, but very true. But we were mentioning basically our friends and close friends. Let's touch on a little bit on family. And I realize that this is going to be the most difficult.
I love you guys, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So why? Are they not supposed to be family, right? You were born in a family, you're supposed to be together all the time. And then life hits you. Things happen to them, things happen to you, to your siblings and whatsoever, and then you find yourself in a situation where you have to make decisions for yourself. Again, this is the final option, this is the last option. you know, loving them from afar. But why is it? I don't even know what am I trying to ask.
Is it difficult of the family to accept the change? This is what I'm.
Let's start from there.
Okay.
Let's start. Why is it difficult from the family to accept that?
Because you're a direct reflection of them.
Are you?
I mean, I don't believe that you are, because you're an individual person, but I think that in this day and age, there's a lot of things that we have to grapple with that the previous generations didn't have to. We're more individualistic now than they used to be. Before, you're born into a family. I mean, when you meet people, what do they ask you? They ask you your name, and then they ask you, what's your last name? I want to know how to, like, understand who you are. Because your last name...
Because they want to put you in a box.
Okay, we can say a box, but the more, like, the deeper meaning behind it is they want to also understand where you come from and what your background is, because that informs the person that's sitting in front of them. But also from their limited understanding, because they didn't live in your house. They don't really know all of that backstory.
So you're saying they're associating your family with...
You're an extension of them, right?
Yes, yeah.
Whether you come out right or wrong or whatever, something happened, but
So
the
whatever
basis...
happens, yeah, they will hit on that.
Yeah, and that's why they always ask you. They want to know.
And that's where shame comes in. So if you go on your own path, you look different. You don't look like the pack.
This is not how
You're
our
not
family
following
does.
tradition. Then you're shamed for that. You're not like us.
And the shame comes because they're just unable to see any alternative to what they're used to doing as a family. Like, we are known for X, Y, and Z. If you don't do that, you're the black sheep of the family, and they almost just don't even want to associate with that.
Is that the only reason why it's difficult? It's because we're a direct reflection of our family.
As this is the main,
Yeah.
big portion of it.
Can
The
I
biggest, like...
Can I say, like, spiritually? Okay, spiritually, there are cords, like energetic cords between you and everybody that you meet. But can you imagine how strong those energetic cords are between you and your family? They've been there always and always and always, and it's heavy and it's generational.
Another question. How would you do it with your own family? Let's take an example. Let's take an easier example. It's your cousin. We'll start with cousin and then we'll go deeper and deeper, right? How would you do it with your own cousin?
What's my cousin doing that's making me
You me-
uncomfortable first? Let's say...
you mentioned, quote unquote, being toxic.
You have the
Unless
conversation
if-
before
yeah,
you
have
do
a
that.
conversation. Tell them how you feel. Like, I can't imagine how toxic someone can be that you have to completely block them out of your life. يعني,
I'm sure.
يعني,
I'm sure there are some cases.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're
If it was-
extreme.
Yeah, like the extreme must be something really horrible, like غدر فيك يعني. They, I don't know. Yeah, it has to be something really drastic for me to completely, but I'll do all these steps first. Conversation, boundaries, and, get them a bit out of my circle. And if they're still trying to push in, they're still trying to hurt you in some way, even after you created the boundary, if they're still trying to hurt you, that's when they're done. خلاص.
أحس
I have one reference today.
الأشياء اللي نتكلم عنها based on experience. Give me my damn thing.
No. This is my...
Girl.
Wait, I want to do the thing. I want to do it.
It has to be with this one.
Yes.
Yalla.
We start.
Yeah.
I forgot. What's my line?
Nervous?
That you're
Oh, I'm so nervous. I can't remember what I'm saying. Okay, wait. I have to go. I don't want your stick anymore. Okay, guys. Just a disclaimer. I'm like super nervous. I just thought you should know. And now back to the episode. That's it?
Oh God.
We're all nervous. Disclaimers. Yeah.
Disclaimers. We are nervous because this is maybe does not show from a viewer's perspective, but we are nervous because this is not something we do it normally, you know? We don't do this in front of cameras, and then if we do it behind closed doors, we've done this behind closed doors, and we went like for hours and spoke like very comfortably. But if you do it and you know that there are cameras, there are crews, you know, hundreds of people, maybe thousands,
waiting.
maybe thousands of people might be watching this, and you know they're your personal experiences, information. I think that's it's fair to be nervous. We were talking, we were saying basically, why is it difficult with the family? Everybody's got their valid reasons, but as Muslims, it's also in our culture that, you know, we have Salat al-Rahim. So that's why I like the outline. It's, you know, responsibility versus rights. It's your right to make, you know, to make that decision to love your people from afar, but there is also your responsibility, right? What do you guys think? How can we balance between the two?
I did a short research about Salat al-Rahim, and I thought that you can get to a point where you completely cut out a person, and you can, but it's only when they are danger to you. It's when they are يعني واجد مؤذين. You have the right إنه to cut them off. أذى قوي. Or when you do your responsibility, which is الصلة ولو بمسج ولو باتصال. You don't have to go to them. If you know that if you go to their house or if you meet them somewhere, you're gonna get emotionally hurt, physically,
So
mentally,
any kind of harm.
You can your responsibility is to keep that touch, whatever that touch is for you, whatever that صلة, inshallah message, inshallah سؤال, until they tell you خلاص, you're out of my life. So if they shut you off, it's their responsibility now, because if you keep on trying, that might trigger more hate.
What if that's received with resistance?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you, what do you mean? What's received with resistance?
Okay, so let's say you decide to, for Salat al-Rahim, you decide to just send messages or a phone call. Mm-hmm. What if that's not enough for them, and they tell you that's not enough?
Yeah, I think that's your right.
A question.
But then we go. Sorry.
I'm not speaking from like I just did a small research and that's what I found, and it sat right with me. Yani it's your right to set a boundary. But there's conditions of how harmful is this person to you.
I think this is I think this section especially is for another day with someone who has more information on this, because what I'm thinking right now is, okay, you set your boundaries, messages, phone call, and they're not happy. But then there is this thing called رضا الوالدين. So where do we stand in that? Do you get me? So I believe that we need to, that's a topic we'll need to talk with someone who has more insights on this.
I feel like when it comes to the subject of distancing people, I feel like we should normalize going to therapy with people that we're having issues with. Like having a mediator mediate between the two of you so that you can get to a resolve.
Most people aren't willing, I think.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Both sides will not be happy.
I know, but the thing is, like, even if they won't be happy, the alternative is that you keep trying to have these conversations with people who don't even have the knowledge or the capacity to be able to break down exactly why you feel the need to even think about, like, you know, distancing yourself from them. So I feel like if we were to get to a point where we can start to normalize that kind of behavior, like, you know, taking them to see somebody who can actually counsel us properly. And it's not somebody who's like in the family, it's a professional. Like, that's their degree. Okay? Not your auntie, not your uncle, not your cousin. Professional. Yeah.
I'm blank.
Blank.
Yeah. Blank because I'm still fixated on this whole walidain thing. Because it's such a huge thing.
The thing is, you're not coming here
There's
to
so
talk
many,
about it.
so many like subsections of this. Because let's say they decide they're considering going for therapy with you, but then there's this whole thing, you know, with that's their mentality. There's this whole thing with the, you know, privacy. This is our personal information. These things are happening inside the house. Why are we taking it outside?
Okay, so this is where education is really important, because when you go to therapy, it's supposed to be confidential. That is what therapy is all about. You can't go to therapy and then like everything gets spilled out. That's not what it's about. That person is a professional for a reason.
Have you guys ever been through this situation? For example, you've decided to keep them on a distance, and then somewhere down the line you decided to kind of you had a change of heart.
Switch.
Yeah.
You know, these kind of stuff happens in family gatherings. You will have that switch. And I had it personally sometimes. Yeah, a few times.
What made you bring the people back into your life?
It's not my choice to choose who's going to be my family. So if they're going to be in the family gathering, I don't want to sit in the corner because let's say I'm keeping myself away from that person and I'll just not talk to.
Okay, I have a question. So when we talk about loving somebody from afar, it doesn't mean that you never see that person. So let's put this into like the right kind of context. Sometimes you're gonna run into this person. Sometimes you don't have a choice, whether it's family or even like friends. You know, like
True.
you know, you have gatherings or
Yeah,
whatever.
But I see it like till when.
Yeah.
What do you mean
Till
till
when?
when?
Yeah.
You will just keep yourself distant from these people, okay? Maybe somehow you just saw a potential of like this person grew somehow, and why not? Just take that wall and.
Do you
look
address
again.
it though?
I did.
Again, when you see the person, that's because
Yeah.
that's important.
Yes, I did.
Just pretending like nothing happened, and then you just go back to being buddies again without actually addressing
No.
it, I think is really...
No. You have to address because both sides has to know what's going on. So both of you do all whatever. How many people going to go through this will not be into, let's say, awkward moments.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everybody's responsibility, but not everybody is prepared to take that responsibility, right? Sitting someone down and talking about your things, talking about, you know, the elephant in the room or whatever, it's never easy, but based on my experience, it's always turned out in a positive way.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being raw,
I guess I'm
being
the awkward one then.
being really open about it, you know.
Yeah.
Just say what
Sometimes
I mean.
it's going to be like very strong bond before, even like better than before. That's what I see.
Sometimes it's positive, but sometimes it's negative if the other person is unwilling to see the error in their ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're unwilling to take responsibility for their part. So every time you talk about something, whether it's like a personal thing for you and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing it maliciously, some people don't react well.
Okay.
You
I have something to add to that.
Can you excuse me with that, please?
هذا؟
Oh,
I told you.
God. Sponsor.
Sponsored by
Sponsor.
Wait.
Tanoof, out of anywhere.
Can I do it now? Not sponsored by Tinu. You scared me?
Let's go.
Why is he so
Let's go.
angry?
That's the idea I want to say. Slip my mind.
Damn it.
كلها من تنوين. Wait,
كلها من تنوين.
give me 10 seconds. No, that's
You were
too much
saying,
pressure.
what were you
No,
saying
what
before
saying,
this?
Abhishek?
I was saying that like sometimes people who don't want to take on, like they don't want to take responsibility,
Take responsibility.
for the things that they say.
Okay, so
Or do.
what worked with me is not telling them what their mistakes are, but asking them what happened to them to make them act this way. So instead of saying, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, ask, why are you acting that way? This is what worked with me. And something else is using, this is just for my personal experience, just using I instead of you. So I feel I feel like that when you do this. I feel like I'm losing my privacy when you ask me those kind of questions. I feel like you're controlling me when you tell me to do this and this your way. I feel misunderstood. So that really helped them. And even if they did not agree with what I'm saying,
But it
like
shows that you got triggered. by
yeah,
that, say.
yeah. I felt understood after I said that. Either they got the idea or not.
I always use I language.
Is
because
it
I know
always
that
this
it's-
nice with you guys? I don't know. Based on my
Yeah,
experience,
it's not-
it got heated sometimes.
What?
Oh, it gets heated.
It gets heated, like
heated.
like seriously, like you know, like listen, you're being an really like you're being an 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not. I feel not heard. ما في هذا بيننا يعني.
No,
You know, you get me.
But
But
I think
you gotta keep it
when
to get
when
the
I
idea across.
when I start the conversation, it always starts like really calm. But I'm also a very emotional person, so at some point I start crying, and then sometimes I get gaslit, and they tell me that I'm using it as a, يعني,
A weapon.
yeah, basically. So this is what I mean by like getting discredited. It's just like, yeah, you're always so emotional. I'm like, yeah, I'm just an emotional person, and the crying is because I actually care.
That's strength to me. Whenever I want to have a vulnerable conversation, I didn't have many. This is just recent that I've been doing this. But I promised myself that even if I cry, I'll talk through the tears.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
That you know.
How about you, Muhammad? How about you? When you cry, what do you are you able to?
What? See? Okay, cover.
He
this
wants
with
someone to
the-
ask him this question.
No, I don't
Sausan.
want.
Okay,
لك
Sulaiman.
حطيت لك انت no.
Wait, just
Okay.
answer even
Okay.
if it's out, even if it's not.
I know that.
To
No,
me,
when was
the
the
way
last
I
time-
do it, it's like we mentioned this.
Yeah.
Talking to the mirror is like going to lower.
Oh, did you try that?
I always do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking to the mirror is the best solution I can do.
Yeah.
It's always calm me down, and when I go out, I just take it the easy way.
Yeah.
Plus, I took my anger out of my body.
Yeah.
Now I take it in a peace way.
Yeah. Journaling too.
Sulaiman,
Well, I don't talk to the mirror. I haven't tried it yet, yani. I go take a shower. I sleep.
nice.
Sleeping helps.
Like showering. Is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It does help.
Take a shower or sleep. I journal. I meditate. That's it really.
This is before having a conversation, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely talk to myself.
Yeah.
Before,
Practice in the car.
you know.
Yeah.
But I like the journaling thing.
Yeah.
I should do that more.
Yeah. A lot of anger comes out on paper and then a bit less.
There are moments where I've actually like typed it out on my phone.
Journaling has a different.
It does, right?
Writing it down has a different effect on your brain.
For sure.
I don't know the
agree.
science behind it, but it does.
The last time you guys had to cancel someone, cancel culture, not cancel, but let's say cut off a person. What was the reason?
Someone touched my plate.
Oh, Muhammad.
Someone ate my fries.
Oh my god, I can't.
Someone wanted to share.
Don't monk off my order, but then you try my
Ay, ay,
food.
ay. When was
It's
the last
It's a
time?
no-no, it's
When
a
was the last
no-no.
time you saw them? Years ago.
You cut it.
Gone.
You cut them off.
Wow.
Okay.
Wait, are you being serious?
Yes, don't touch my.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
هذا خاص مني.
We're never going on for dinner or anything.
Okay.
When was the last time you had to cancel someone?
I asked you guys first.
Why do you ask us
Yeah,
first? Why
you
don't
have
you
to
answer?
answer.
I'm the person with the khayzaran.
Oh,
I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
so toxic.
There's this
You-
person that makes me feel small whenever they're there and uncomfortable. It's that, right? It's making you whoever makes you feel small, unnecessary, and uncomfortable. Almost every time I see them.
And like, okay, was this a conversation or you just
No
decided?
conversation.
Okay. Mine was simpler. It was a basis of every relationship, whatever it is respect. I just believe that if someone chooses consciously to disrespect you, you set your boundaries, they still decide to do the same thing, hey, خلاص. That was it. That's the last time I cut someone off. Yeah. Because, the thing is, when I told him, okay, خلاص ما بيني وبينك أي شيء, one of the things he said was, this is how I am with everyone. I'm like, okay, be like that with everyone. خلاص, it's okay. So to him, that's a normal thing, يعني. And setting boundaries is a very recent thing. Like it's on the surface very recently, right? I'm guessing nobody really set boundaries with him, and that was the first time, probably. And then of course, after that happens, you start hearing things about yourself from this person and that person, and this is why we're not friends anymore. And yeah, that was the last time.
Can I say something? I have this quote going in my head during the episode. It says, "Don't let negative people rent a space in your mind."
A quote.
Okay? Raise the rent and kick them out.
But
Okay.
that's nice. But sometimes you can't.
Yeah,
do that straight away.
it's not applicable to everyone, but
Sometimes, yeah, you can't.
So there are people that don't know how to set boundaries, that don't have the strength, especially in their households. What's your advice to them?
that's good to me, but I know what I'm going to say is not the right thing to say.
Which is
Block.
Talk or die.
Talk or die. What do you mean?
Yani, at least you have to address this.
I can agree with you. Open communication must be the number one thing. And what I mean by open communication is making sure that the other person understood what you are saying exactly, not just lashing, not just saying things and then get off and then storm off. I communicated. That's not the real.
Like active listening is a skill that you really need to be.
Right, and sometimes
listen to them as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes it could take hours and hours of communication. Sometimes you could have the same conversation for weeks. Whatever it takes, you have to sit and communicate.
This is why I'm saying that if you go to a counselor, you have that added advantage of things moving along faster because they know how to navigate, I think it's definitely, I'm not saying that every situation means that ala tool you go and you run to a specialist. It's important for you to also get used to handling difficult discussions. Like going back to what I said last week, life is simple, but it's not easy. Neither conversations, especially the ones that take you to that place, like you guys were saying, that it's a positive experience after you actually have it and you get to that new level.
And don't expect anyone to be as vulnerable as you are. Their pace is different than your pace, so they might get to 2 when you're at 8, and it's difficult for them. So it takes patience for people to get vulnerable and talk about these difficult subjects, and don't expect them to change. I feel you can help it, You can try, but don't expect and don't put your hopes too
You can't
high.
really change. Can you? You can't really
You
change
can't
anyone.
change.
You can't really change anyone.
Yeah.
They
So
are what
I
they
feel
are.
I have an example of that. For example, if you have a friend or someone تحش مثلا عن صديقة تحش, but she's funny.
Why'd you look at me when you
I
said
don't know.
that?
Oh, she also pointed,
Yeah.
so I'm like,
Why did she look at me?
But at the same time, she's funny. But you know, she like a lot of your secrets are out because of her.
Are you talking about me?
Girl. So set a boundary that you don't let her into your privacy. But don't expect her to not do that. Like if you tell her a secret, don't expect her to stay quiet. At the same time, so the boundary is privacy, but at the same time, you can hang out with her, have a laugh because she's funny, you enjoy her time. So it has to be some circles, but
I
not
honestly think
all
that
your
it's
circles.
unfair if you don't actually sit down and speak to the person and tell them, because it is a kindness. Even though it might hurt them, but really it's a kindness. When somebody has a certain thing that they're doing, they might not even realize it. Some people get so used to doing something in a certain way, you know, that it becomes a habit unconsciously. We can't see ourselves. We need other people so that they can also tell us, you know, give us feedback. Because we're not perfect. No one's perfect. There's always something you can improve.
Whatever.
And sometimes really, because you're just so used to it, it's just like, that's just the way, you know?
are you gonna ask this question now?
Yeah. What happens when you have to love your whole family from afar? Your whole house.
Oh, I did that
You did that.
when I traveled. I was away for 2.5 years and I didn't see my family. That was hard. But there was a reason. I mean, I think that's when I decided that it's now or never. If I don't allow myself this time and this space, I'm never going to be able to grow into the person that I want to be.
Why did you do it, if you don't mind?
I told you I was depressed.
You traveled because you were depressed?
I mean, I wanted to get out of this space because I just felt like I couldn't stand people watching me suffer. And I knew that it was hurting them and it was hurting me and it was hurting, you know what I mean? I just felt like there was no other option because I needed to stop avoiding doing all of the work that I need to do. But doing it while people were watching me suffer was too difficult. So that distance gave me the opportunity to explore all of the different versions of me that I could be without the interference of other people.
But is there a possibility that that was not the case?
Could be, but I'm not interested in that narrative. It doesn't help me.
What do you mean?
It doesn't help me to think that they didn't care or they didn't want to. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but you're saying you traveled because that's how it felt, because you...
No, I was in a space already where I was going through a lot. And I felt like I could not be here. I couldn't change because I'm in the same place.
Yeah.
This is the place, this is the source of all of my pain. For whatever reason, I'm not even saying that it's necessarily like connected to the family or best. I had my own struggles. Do you feel me? So being in the same space that is also the cause, you know, it just felt like the cause and effect was just kida on a loop. Every single day was like Groundhog Day. Constantly, I was living the same emotion every single day, and I just wanted to get out of it. But how do you get out of it when everybody else seems to be in on this, you know, idea that this is who you are? It's fixed because you've been in this loop for so long. So obviously you need to take yourself out of it. And unfortunately, it was extreme, but I don't regret it because I'm here today. I don't know what would have happened if I stayed.
And look, and I want to thank you for being vulnerable with us. And excuse me if I have follow-up questions because I'm really thinking about it. What was it like? I'm trying, and I can't understand how you felt. I'm trying to put myself in your situation. Feeling that the only way to become better is for me to travel abroad, not even in the country, abroad.
You're saying, so why was this is
No,
the only option?
I'm trying to think how
Okay.
what was it like?
One, I'm a girl, so travel where in this country and go live where? When my parents are in the
Sahar,
same
have you
country.
seen Sahar?
I'm a girl. I'm not a guy. I think that I'm gonna leave my family's house and go and move to Sahara and do what? Yani? I'm depressed. Like I can't. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so okay,
But it sounds the same to me, whether here or out, because actually you're saying you're a girl, so.
okay. Let's
I
go
think
back to
I
the
think-
question.
okay.
What was it like? What was it like?
It was lonely. It was scary. I was constantly fighting with myself and trying to understand exactly what it was about me that was stuck. Like it's a record that's constantly playing over and over again. So the overriding thing that I was thinking about wasn't the fact that I was away from my family. It was about getting better. And that's why being away was easier than staying. Because I'm already dealing with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Imagine that you're watching my every move.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. Because you don't want to hurt the people that are around you. And you know that this is actually me showing you love. Me leaving is love. It's not to punish you.
I can think of an example, but it's not even close to that. A big part of the reason a lot of men are not vulnerable or don't express their feelings is actually because of this. I don't know if you agree with me, Muhammad. Like a lot of the reasons we don't express it because we know that
sometimes it can be hard.
it's gonna bother you.
Yes.
It's gonna bother you as well. Now two people are bothered, two people are upset, two people are sad instead of one. Again, not even close to what you're going through. I just thought of, the concept behind it.
I can completely relate to that distance between people can heal the relationship. But physical distance and time distance.
The thing
No.
is, when you say that it heals a relationship, it's not
It's-
because we all have to heal our own.
Yeah. So it's just, the distance creates space for you to heal. When that person is out or far, it creates space for you to actually heal and recover and do the work. And then you're a better person when you come back. It really
Well,
does work.
hopefully.
Inshallah.
Yeah, I was going through
Best
something
case.
on like 2013, and
Hey, same. Same.
So my only option was to do volunteering. So I was just like doing here. That was like the big transition in my life. So I had to start doing something, and I was focusing just in it. Start doing volunteering. So here, out, and I just kept it there in my blood till today. And I'm really happy that I actually chose that because I had to, love some people from afar, from distance. I had to keep them away just to make this happen. I got some resistance when I came back. It's like, are you crazy? Why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, you do you, I do me. That's life.
How do you know when to normalize what's affecting you and to cope with it? How to know what to decide? Either cope with it or I normalize it.
I think for me, I never really hold back on being vocal about what I see. Just from the perspective of somebody who like emotionally has gone through a lot of roller coasters, when I start to see a red flag, I always address it. Just like, dude, something's happening here, and like I just want you to know, like I'm witnessing, and I understand if that person might be going through a hard time. But for me, like a red flag in return would be if that person is completely unable to take on what I'm saying and they take it in a negative way.
So that's when you cope, or that's when you normalize?
That's when I don't wait. Coping and normalizing is the same thing.
Are they?
Yes.
I
It's
think-
on the
I
same
think
side of the spectrum.
I see it differently. There's normalizing is normalizing the toxic person, as in whenever
Okay, wait.
You know, it is what it
your
is.
energy gets
Norm-
sucked when you're normalizing, right?
Normalizing, coping, cancel. Right?
So
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So to me, normalizing is okay, whenever you're with this person, you feel like your energy is depleted. They're criticizing you, they're complaining, they're comparing you to another person, they're emotionally abusive, every time you meet them. And you're normalizing that, you're saying, it's okay, they'll get better, they'll change someday, it's okay, they're my this or that family members. And your energy gets sucked every time. So coping is setting the boundary, putting like a halo, like a protective shield, and being okay with them, still being themselves, still being toxic. But خلاص, you have your shield on, you understood them, you're protecting your energy, and you're coping with it's okay, I have to live with that. خلاص, but you're not letting your energy get sucked anymore with the boundaries that you set. So that's the difference for me.
I don't know.
Unsatisfying answer.
What's on
No,
your
it's
mind?
not about not being a satisfying answer. It's
When do you
I think every situation differs.
True.
Okay, I can see, but okay, so I'm thinking of the third option, canceling them. And again, I'm not condoning it. This should be the last option, but it's just difficult, man. If someone is especially if they're your family, I think most of us will lean towards normalizing it for the longest. Why? Because you've been conditioned all your life. That's all you've seen all your life, right? To a point where you'll feel that this is the norm. This is actually the normal thing, and we're family and we're supposed to take this. I don't know. I think what I'm hearing is, even from myself, that we're talking it's as if it's a light thing, like you either normalize it or cope with it or canceling
So
it.
easy.
But I feel like there's so many little nuance to everything.
What are the side effects of normalizing? You wouldn't know.
Your health.
Your health, your
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to expand in life. You're controlled with what you do. We're talking about family now. You're controlled. You're in a box. You just feel stuck. Whenever you feel stuck in life with your family, that's when you have to set boundaries. It's gonna stop you from
Being you.
being authentic.
Like, if you don't stand your ground, people are going to push you back.
It stops you from learning from your own mistakes.
That's we go back to talk a day.
It's you. Yeah. It's you.
Okay.
It's you against the world. Like, are you okay with being? Okay. Are you willing to be okay with being at peace with yourself and at war with the world? And at the world right now is مثلا family. Or do you want to be at peace with the family and at war with yourself?
I think this is
You
like
get me?
a
Yeah.
really, really huge topic.
Yeah.
Really, really huge topic. But
Yeah.
like, I think we kind of spoke about this like before, about the fact that we're such an individualistic, like we're becoming a more individualistic society, and people have become more for themselves than they are for other people. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, our problem is that we're also more for ourselves than we are for other people. But it's just the times, things are happening so fast. Like, time is everything. It's a currency that you can't afford to bring back. So people are becoming less tolerant of each other.
I think this is a topic we'll always come back to. It will never end. As we grow, as we live, we develop relationships, so it'll always come back. I really think that this is a good place to pause. I'm not going to say stop. To pause this topic, and we'll come back to it another day, inshallah. You guys have anything to say? Statements?
I started loving the people again when I set boundaries. When I didn't hold a grudge anymore for them taking away my freedom. So when I set the boundaries, the relationship really got better.
I would say, love yourself.
Love yourself.
I'm gonna end by using a line that you actually shared with us, which is some people are in your life for a reason, a season,
or a lifetime.
And you gotta pick.
And this is season 1, baby. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being.
And that's a wrap, bitch.
Good.